Watch and burn.
Hey everyone, so tonight, it actually kind of looks like I'm nowhere. And I am nowhere. I'm actually kind of floating around the cosmos because I'm eternal. Now I'm thinking about that piece of shit movie with Angelina Jolie. So I take that back. I'm not eternal. I've got this on the ground, and the sky is above me. I'm not floating around like one of those eternal assholes. But anyways, tonight I wanted to discuss Harmony Korine's sort of least known and definitely least celebrated film. And that is, I believe, 2007's Mr. Lonely. Now, this is a tough one because this has to be Korine's saddest film ever. It concerns a Michael Jackson impersonator, played by Diego Luna from Narcos Mexico. And he doesn't really feel like he has a place in the world, and so he goes around, impersonating Michael Jackson professionally, usually at retirement homes, in order to sort of, I suppose, to hopefully somehow sort of have a personality through pretending to be Michael Jackson, because he doesn't feel that his personality is strong enough. He doesn't feel that he's interesting enough on his own, so he needs to adapt Jackson's persona in order to feel special. And so early on in the movie, he comes across a Marilyn Monroe impersonator, and she convinces him to come back to this island of sort of misfit impersonators, including Abraham Lincoln, who swears a lot. You've got Buckwheat, like the little black kid from the Little Rascals, whose parents are completely absent, so I don't know what's going on there. You've got James Dean, Madonna's there. You have Charlie Chaplin, Marilyn Monroe's asshole husband. And you have Marilyn Monroe and Charlie Chaplin's daughter, who is Shirley Temple. You have Rachel Korine, Harmony's wife. She plays Little Red Riding Hood. There's also, I'm not sure if I said Sammy Davis Jr., and there's the Three Stooges are there. And I have to say that none of these people look particularly anything like the people they're attempting to impersonate. I keep hearing things. But anyways, yeah, they don't look particularly like Diego Luna's Michael Jackson. He doesn't look a thing like Michael Jackson. His costume it's not very Jackson-ish. It's like a budget Michael Jackson, and it's like a budget Marilyn Monroe. But anyway, she talks him to come back to this island of essentially like misfit mascots. For anybody that remembers that era of South Park with the sexual harassment panda, they're like, the schools are like, listen, bud, we understand what you're attempting to do, but you're just too weird. So they end up sort of expelling him to the island of misfit mascots. And that's kind of what this island's like. It's never entirely cleared up either who's footing the bill for this island, because they all live in this massive house and they have animals that they end up having to cull because they all get sick, and they decide to build this giant stage in order for them to put on this performance for the people who live on the island with them. And the whole time, Charlie Chaplin is like an incredibly abusive and possibly sexually abusive spouse towards Marilyn Monroe. He's all over her, and she doesn't seem to want any part of it. He's always yelling at her, and I don't know. It's just, this movie is so incredibly heavy. I can understand why people don't love this movie from Harmony Korine, because I just thought this was so incredibly sad. No matter how many times I watch this, I can't really find anything redeeming to say about it. It's just a lot of tragic people leading tragic lives, and this movie, it culminates in Marilyn Monroe's suicide after what I believe is a sexual assault perpetrated by her husband, Charlie Chaplin. They finally put on the big performance, and all of the misfit impersonators are walking in the dark back through the dark, through the forest, back to their large house, and they're all excited, and they're celebrating the fact that the show was a huge hit. And then they find Marilyn hanging from a tree, and then Charlie Chaplin starts crying like, yeah, sure, buddy, like you weren't the fucking direct cause of this. And that causes Michael Jackson to sort of immediately leave, and he decides to sort of go it alone without being Michael Jackson. Sort of, because the movie actually ends with him possibly on a little motorbike being Michael Jackson again, so I'm not sure there. There is also a really odd subplot with Werner Herzog, where he's a priest with a handful of nuns who are dropping food out of a plane in an unnamed developing country in order to help the locals. But what happens is, throughout the course, of one of these food drops, one of the nuns falls out, and you think she's done for, but because she prays on the way down, she lands fine. And then, as the result of this, all of the nuns decide to turn into fucking Sally Field, and they all start flying out of the plane, and they all keep landing because their faith is strong enough to see them through it. And another thing that I thought was a nice touch was the use of a Silver Mount Zion's 13 angels standing guard around the side of your bed, which is used really effectively when one of the nuns has leapt out of the plane on a BMX. This movie is still classic Korine. It's just that it's shot so clean, and it has like an $8.5 million budget. And so whereas there are elements of Korine here, like the two drunk guys on the bus at the end wearing the dunce caps who share the drink with Michael Jackson, or share the bottle of liquor, with Michael Jackson, as well as Rachel Korine singing, walking down the train tracks in between the two sort of fenced-off mountains, and the nun on a BMX. And so this is a total Harmony Korine movie, but because it's shot so clean and it's played so straight, and because at this period people are still, like, they can't let go of the gummo Julian donkey boy Harmony Korine, and so this movie wasn't embraced the way that it should have. In fact, this movie was a total box office bomb. I think it only made a few $100,000 against an $8 million budget. Now, that isn't to say that this movie isn't worthwhile. It's just this movie is so rough, and it's just so sad, and everybody in this is so broken. And I just don't know where Buckwheat's parents are. It makes no sense. And then you find out in the credits that it lists the impersonators, and it says the actors portraying the people who they were, and it lists Werner Herzog as one of the impersonators. So I'm not even sure if he was a real priest. I think the nuns were real, but it doesn't matter anyways because they all die when their plane crashes. Oh yeah, this is a cheery film. So if you're feeling really bad about yourself, I wouldn't suggest watching this one. And even if you're feeling really good about yourself, I still wouldn't suggest watching this one. You got to make sure you're in a certain headspace when you choose to tackle a movie like this, because it is unrelentingly ugly at times. Or, no, it is unrelentingly ugly overall. It's played straight, but goddamn does this movie have a lot of negative emotional weight behind it. And I liked how Abe Lincoln swore a lot. He introduces himself as, "I'm Abraham fucking Lincoln." And he swears all the time, so I thought that was great. And I also liked how Abe Lincoln was the one that was in total control of their house. He was the one on the phone with the vet saying, like, "Oh my God, we have to cull these animals. Do you have any idea how important they are?" While all of the other sort of impersonators are playing this weird sort of floor pool game. And I don't know. Charlie Chaplin rules Marilyn Monroe's life with a fucking iron fist, and he's a total asshole. And he actually has the nerve to cry when he sees her body swinging from a tree, you know? So, yeah. So, look, I am going to go. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. For fuck's sakes, 8.5 minutes while I discussed Harmony Korine's least known and least celebrated film, and that is Mr. Lonely. Like always, if you like this review, don't forget to do something nice for somebody, but please don't forget that the world is a better place because you are in it. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. I should probably stop saying tomorrow just in case I stop going daily. I just wanted to say thank you for making it through the entire video. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to remind everyone one more time, even though I've probably already done this in the video that you just watched, to please click the like button as well as the subscribe button because it helps this channel grow. And thank you for hitting like and subscribe. And we will see you guys really soon.